So today I'm going to show you how to make slider hamburgers in the style of Little Tavern or Krystal or White Castle. It's focusing mostly on the Little Tavern aspect. If you've ever been to Washington DC and had Little Tavern burgers when they were still open, they're pretty incredible. So one of the main things about them was they had that steaminess. I think they kept them in some sort of steam drawer. So what we're going to do is we're going to make little burgers that are square, as you can see there, and try to replicate that steamy effect. But what you need some tiny buns, or in this case, potato rolls. Need some little square patties. Those are thicker than I would normally make them. Really, they were definitely thinner than that, but they do cook down a little bit. So you want to make sure your patties are bigger than your buns, of course. Then you need some seasoned salt, some yellow mustard, if you're going for the authentic recipe. I use American cheese. It's whether or not you prefer cheese. You'll see I took a slice of American and I broke it up this way. So the reason I make the small slices like that is what you don't want it to do is drip over the sides and form like a burnt crust of cheese. So yeah, so that's what that's about, so it doesn't dribble over the sides. And then here we have diced onions. You're supposed to use Vidalia, I believe. It's better that way, I think. But anyway, so what you do is you take your burgers and you pop them in the pan. And then take your seasoned salt, sprinkle a little bit on there. Probably a little too much. And then take some of your onions. Put those on top. I usually have lots of onions, so that way if I get some spillover, it's no big deal. And if you want, you can take a spatula, kind of smush your onions down into the burger a little bit. You can grab a little bit off the pan if you're brave. And then those are going to cook for a while. Another thing you want to do that I forgot to mention before, you want to preheat your oven to just around 170, 180, just to get it warm, because you're going to need it later. You also need aluminum foil, so that's something I forgot to mention. But yep, these are going to cook, and then after that we're going to flip them. Surprise. Okay, so our burgers are ready to flip. Flip them over on the onion side. Push them down a little bit just to make sure the onions stick. Now you'll notice I have a square frying pan. It's particularly great if you're making a whole bunch of them. You can fit like 9 of them on there. So that's definitely helpful, especially if you're making a bunch of them. The great thing about these is that, like, if you're making them for a party, when you finish the cooking step, what we're going to get to next, you wrap them up in foil and then you stick them in the oven. And they can sit for a while that way, and you can just leave them. So if you have to make batches of them, like for a party, you just keep wrapping them in foil and tossing them in. And if you have people that like burgers a specific way, like if somebody wants a different kind of cheese, you can mark the foil with a Sharpie. So it's definitely convenient if you're making a whole batch of them. And if you're familiar with Little Tavern, you'll probably remember that they sold them by the bag. You usually get, I think, 3 or 6 at a time, or you could just get a whole giant bag of them. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to get out the foil. And I believe if you're going for the authentic Little Tavern experience, you want to put just mustard. I like to make sure the buns are touching. And then put just mustard on the bottom. Go ahead and put our cheese on here. And then eat our example cheese. So the main goal, the great thing about these burgers, it's kind of weird. They're kind of steamy, like I said before, and they're a little bit smushy. And that was the steam kind of, it just made the bun moist. And that's sort of the goal that we're going for with the foil. So like I mentioned before, I like to have the burgers touching. They normally came in rows. So I think when you have them squished together like that, the moisture kind of distributes better between the two of them. But, you know, I could be on track. Yeah, it's melting down the sides. That's why I try to make the cheese as small as possible. You don't get that crust there sticking to your burger. Alright. I think those are just about ready. And you see they cook up pretty small. So go ahead and put those on the buns. Put the tops on. And wrap them up. And I like to try to seal the foil rather than just kind of folding it over, because you want to make sure that that moisture stays in there. So, wrapping it around, probably have to tear into it. I'm going to open it. We take our burgers, we pop them in the oven, and then come back 10 or 15 minutes later, 20, however long you decide to wait. Okay, so we're back 20 minutes later to get our burgers. And that's pretty much all there is to it. That's it. Enjoy.
Poison in my eyes keeps me from reflecting night after night. Bags of sugar broke on the pavement. White